Let's do it.
Ready? Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to TecSocial. Bob Kelly from the Report. Glad you could make it. I'm really pleased tonight. We're doing a session on virtual reality and alternate realities, augmented reality.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with Trump, by the way. It might. Okay, it might. Brian Best is a local developer, and he's also the manager or runs the Sydney AR/VR group. And he's going to give us an overview and share some tech with us and has some stuff that we can try later on. So I'm going to turn it over to Brian. Take it away.
All right, so fair warning, it's been a while since I've done one of these stand-up speeches in front of everybody, so I'm a little nervous, but hopefully that'll all kind of go away in a little bit. Because right now, I'm here to talk about augmented reality and virtual reality. So like Bob said, my name is Brian Best, and my day job, I'm a software engineer over at a company here in Sydney called Ubiquity Networks, but in my off hours, I do this VR stuff over at Navigate. So here I'm going to bring you up to speed on the virtual reality and augmented reality industries. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So last year there was about $1.1 billion of investment in 2016. It was one of the largest areas of investment last year as well as the year before that and the year before that. VR had been growing in popularity since 2010, but it wasn't until Facebook really put their step into the ring and purchased Oculus for what we're now learning was about $3 billion. So effectively kind of kickstarting the whole industry. Today, CES played host to more virtual reality and augmented reality startups than it's ever seen. Over 6.3 million VR units were sold in 2016. And that trend is going to continue to 40 million units predicted by 2018. And to put that into perspective, in iPhone's fourth year of sales, they're hitting 40 million units. So they're kind of getting towards that hockey stick curve of pushing units out there. So what is augmented reality and virtual reality? Well, virtual reality is all about the creation of a virtual world that users can interact with. This virtual world is designed in such a way that it's difficult for the users to tell what is real and what is not. Just like some of these guys. And these guys. Oh my god. It's actually pretty funny. VR is mostly considered into the realm of entertainment, such as video games or movies. And actually, Sundance for the past 2 years has been showing and recognizing and rewarding virtual reality movies and experiences that push the narrative filmmaking. So augmented reality, in contrast to that, is a little like this. This is a little film called Hyper Reality. It is meant to be hyperbolic in that if you're able to layer the digital world on what we currently see, what would it look like? Taking Facebook ads, YouTube ads, and that kind of stuff that we currently have to deal with right now, and layering it on here. It's about a 6-minute long video, and if you get a chance to, after this, go take a look at it. It's pretty fun. Augmented reality is where it's considered to be the real moneymaker because it bends the real world and digital worlds together, allowing everyday objects to get smarter. However, while VR uses mostly already existing techniques in 3D modeling and programming and dealing with a set space that exists inside a computer, AR needs to be a lot smarter and use sensors to help build the world around it. And that's where parallel developments in building autonomous cars have been beneficial for augmented reality. Similar techniques used in things like LiDAR that help computers define what shapes are and what the materials it's made of can help augmented reality figure out what it's looking at. And while advances in AI and machine learning helps bring the power of the internet to allow glasses to figure out what it's looking at. So I'm looking at a Coke can, not a Pepsi can, washing machine built by Samsung, not one built by LG. It's combined together, this is mostly what's possible today.
Look around. Technology is all around us. We use it in every aspect of our lives. It enables us to do amazing things. But what if we could go further? What if we could go beyond the screen? Where your digital world is blended with your real world. Now we can. This is the world with holograms. What will they enable us to do? New ways to visualize our work.
I have an idea for the fuel tank.
New ways to share ideas with each other.
How are things down your end?
I just put the images in OneDrive.
Perfect.
More immersive ways to play. New ways to teach and learn.
So put the new trap in the place of the old one.
No.
And tighten here and here.
New ways to collaborate and explore the places we've never been.
Look at this formation. Let's take a closer look.
And new ways to create the things we imagine. Because when you change the way you see the world, you can change the world you see.
Anyways,
This is Microsoft HoloLens.
so yeah, that's actually a pretty sweet product from Microsoft. It's a HoloLens. It would be great if it actually kind of looked like the way it did, but I've worn it before. It's about when you're looking at in your vision, imagine there's a postage stamp right in front of you. That's about the viewable area you get with the HoloLens right now, and a lot of other AR glasses. But sometimes some other cool stuff happens in AR and VR space. I actually saw this last night. There was some university students created this app, if I can find my, that mixes both augmented reality and virtual reality at the same time. So I'm just going to play this clip
Combination
for you.
mixed reality and virtual reality, having a shared virtual space. So the VR app is already running.
Searching for virtual environment.
The HoloLens is now searching for that program. You will find it.
Connected. Move a controller into the controller outline and pull the trigger.
So the HoloLens just prompted me to take the actual Vive controller and move into this floating controller here, which is poorly placed, I know, and then pull the trigger. This will align the two worlds.
You are now aligned.
I'm now aligned. So now there are some markers on the floor indicating the Vive play space, and the VR user can take both controllers again. And this is a simple app for just drawing blocks. So to the VR user, they're in a fully immersive environment. They have a sky and a ground and no room around them. They can just create whatever they want. So this is just to kind of demonstrate what any sort of content creation experience would look like with a mixed reality spectator such as myself. I can see them drawing out their ideas in the air, in the room. And the person in virtual reality can also see exactly where the spectator is. You can see me walking around the person, so
Controller's locked. A controller is now active.
the tracking in this room is poor. That's what happened there. So the person in virtual reality could point at something they're making, and I could lean in, and it's kind of like we're both there.
Yeah. So you get some cool things like that that happen when you combine both these technologies together. Let me get this back over here. So the with virtual reality and being able to bring that out into the real world, there's a lot of opportunity there for artists and creators of all types to basically bring everything that's in their mind out into the real world in a way that you actually feel the size of it, which is quite nice. So let's go back to the presentation here. So how much this all costs? It's all very cost prohibitive right now. So virtual reality kind of, there's a lot of consumer tech available now through Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive. Microsoft is coming out with a bunch of units later this year, and I think Intel has some dev units that they're playing around with. But these all require high-end computers. Typically, you need a computer with a graphics card that costs about $600, and then everything else that goes on top of that. So minimum amount for a computer is going to be about $1,200, and then the headset itself is about $1,000. Then augmented reality is typically found with those just all-encased units. So the HoloLens retails for $3,000. That's the Microsoft one we all saw. There's other ones like the Meta 2, which is another company out of San Francisco that is building one very similar to the HoloLens, and that's costing somewhere around $1,000. It's all really expensive, what I'm trying to get at here. But what does the future hold for all this stuff? A lot of people are looking to augmented reality to bring some virtual reality ideas to the main consumers, and everyone's kind of waiting on some key players to make something, particularly Apple. And so hopefully see what they do, if they do anything at all in the next coming year. So if you want to learn more about this stuff, there's a couple different books I recommend, and podcasts and email things. The book I'm going to recommend is The Fourth Transformation by Robert Scoble and Shira Israel. It's a very optimistic view on the future. It's assuming that we'll all have a cheap and well-usable augmented reality unit by the 2018-2019. But if you can stomach some of that stuff, it's a really good take on the industry as a whole. The VR Scout Report is a weekly podcast that actually talks a lot about what AR startups are kind of in the space right now and what they're doing. And the Inside VR and AR email subscription, it's a twice a week email that comes out, and all it is just the most up-to-date news on what's happening in the industry. But of course, if you really want to have some fun and play with this tech yourself, you should come out to the Sydney AR and VR group. This coming month, we're actually hosting a tutorial where I'll be taking you through Unity and actually building your own virtual reality photo gallery. And we'll be doing that on the 23rd of this month. So if you'd like to come out then, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, that's my presentation for you guys today. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to field them. Thanks.
So besides Pokemon, what kind of commercial applications are starting to actually make money?
The big one with VR is it's completely changed simulation. If you haven't used the HTC Vive, room scale setup, you should do it. It is unbelievable. The biggest commercial thing I'm seeing right now, military, aerospace, you name it, if it's about police, law enforcement, it's completely flipped that world on its head, and the magic is in integrating physical jigs to the virtual world. So if you've got a cockpit, having a physical mock-up that's mapped to the physical world, so you can interact with it, but you're seeing something completely different. It's really, really cool stuff.
There's also a lot of investment going into theme parks. That's what I say. There's a company called The Void, I think it is. They just had a thing in Los Angeles for Ghostbusters that it's, like you were saying, it's a physically mapped out world in a warehouse, and you wear a VR backpack. You can go around and everything around you is fantastical, hyperbolic, but when you go and touch something, it's actually there. If you're in some space where something is hot, then they'll have something that's blowing hot air in your face, going through spider webs. There's just things that are kind of coming down at you.
Okay. Yep. You talked about, you got education, entertainment, which are very close to the same things.
This is $100 billion a year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, they're totally huge and totally got. I mean, that's why I got all the money going into them. But the other thing I've actually solving problems with it, one of the ones that I saw, University of Saskatchewan on their Mars rover. So you got a robotic arm. These are university things. They build the robot, they go around, they got to go up to this device, okay, it's built, turn valves on it, inflate stuff. And you watch every team coming up there with 2D and on a video camera, trying to reach out and turn a valve with the robot, and they can't do it. So University of Saskatchewan put an Oculus Rift with their camera on it.
Oh, yeah.
And works beautifully. And they can go there, they got depth perception, they can pick up tools on the tool, picking up competition, they can turn valves on, and it was really cool. And I have to say, it's the only one of the only ones that I've ever seen straight up where it was, yeah, you really enabled somebody to solve a problem that you couldn't do.
Yeah.
No.
One of the big things with that with the Vive, and have you used one? I would really encourage trying it out. But the room scale, when it sets that up, it scans to sub-millimeter at 1,000 hertz, the volume, 3D volume. And it's fast enough that your brain loses, it buys into what you're doing. And when you use the controller, even if you flip the controller over and move the trigger, it's something that if you're skilled in the technology you look for, you flick it over and you move the trigger, it's virtually presented in front of you. But it's exactly where you expect it to be, but the response in moving the trigger is, your brain cannot perceive any difference.
Is that the thing Anna put on Facebook about you?
Well, that was actually a simulator. A simulator where there was an avatar in the seat, and it really creeps you out because it's so accurate. And I spent a lot of time in race cars that your brain will try to map the avatar's arms and things to your perception of where your arms are. Yeah. And anyway, if you Google online, they're like, just turn that off, and if you need to ask why, turn it on, and you'll know. Okay.
It was when the hands came out.
Yeah.
You can see
those are not my hands!
There's a problem I noted in that, right? Everything I watched there, they come up with two things, and I go, they are struggling to find, other than entertaining people and doing educational simulation, right? Which are killer things. And I look at that, and everything seems to go through two things. Number one is walking around and putting like advertising information and things. And I'm trying to get away from, I don't know about you, but I'm trying to get away from ads coming at me. Not gonna put 3D glasses so I can see ads. Maybe I'll go and walk in the woods and I can see virtual billboards, right? Or I'll walk in the cityscape and have more ads up. And the other one is design. And I look at these things, oh great, I'm gonna build things in 3D, and I'm going, okay, I've done an awful lot of 3D design myself. We have a whole room full of people who do 3D design, and they're not going to get any advantage nor want to, rather than taking their mouse and clicking and going on the screen.
So one thing I'll throw out on the design thing that I have seen people using, and this is particular, I've seen this in aerospace, it's to get a sense of scale. So when you've done your 3D model, and they sort of hinted on one of the videos, one of the cool things you can do with this, and again, until you use it, it's hard to explain how cool this is. You can look at it at scale. So if you're building an engine or a car or an aircraft wing, or a set of trusses or blades, when you use them in the computer, they're this big, maybe they're this big. But they could be the size of the room. And what they'll do is use the VR setup to get a sense of physical one-to-one scale. And that's really powerful when you're trying to see how parts interface and things like that. And that's solving a lot of problems. That's one area. But the AR stuff, actually, I'm a little contrarian. I don't think the AR...
Big Steven, the whole design process, I got it, but like we've always done that by, you put it in with other things that are similar size. You do an airplane, you got an airplane there, you put a person in it, and you put it in, and I'm going, I get that it's better, but it's like, really, how much better is it? It's not a killer problem solution. It's
you should try. You should try.
I'm not saying anything a wow factor of it, but it's not going to solve problems, and it's not something that people would.
I'll disagree with you on that.
Better get it cheap.
But what I will agree is I think AR has got a long way to go. The problem is you need to wear something.
Well,
so they can put it in a contact lens.
I think you got this company to contend with when it comes to the augmented reality, because if Snapchat can get down AR in like this kind of package that people want to buy and market it right, like they have with this guy, then augmented reality will take off.
I'm a skeptic there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that need to go right for it.
They need to find a problem to solve. And they're real, I say, when all their advertising commercials are showing stuff that's essentially like these people, and they go wow factor stuff, like the videos you showed, and I'm going, cool, but I wouldn't want to try to build a business that had to make money on it, right? And get people to actually crack their wallet out. As I said, so they go through the city there, walk through the bus and see extra ads coming at them. or, whatever. And I say the design thing, great, you got a piece of design that's about that big in the scheme of design, and I go, that's not gonna revolutionize the world of design, but that's what they're struggling to do. So they're a wonderful, it's technology push is what that's called, right? We got this wow technology, everybody looks at it, says wow, and deservedly, I mean, it is really something, right? And the entertainment side of it, great, because it's really something. It is really cool. But to solve problems, they say, and find specific pains that most of the economy is built on, they're really short on that right now. Other than, I say, I saw that one, I watched that one, that control thing, and I'm damn sure that right now, the drones that are zapping people in Yemen and Somalia and places like that are probably have this kind of shit in their head because it'd be perfect for killing people.
Also, like, we all want people to like solve problems, like real problems that real people have. But, like, what problem is Snapchat and Instagram really solving? So, like, there's a huge opportunity for these things to become mainstream without solving any of the problems that you and I think are real problems.
So, like, who's heard of the game The Sims? Right? It's like a virtual world you play a video game, and you spend all of your time decorating your fake house. Now imagine I can decorate my real house by walking around wearing my goggles, and I have the Mona Lisa on my wall, or I have a 60-inch television over there, or I no longer have anything on my tables, I just have this week's sculpture that I've purchased, and is only visible to people in my house wearing my that doesn't solve the problem. But like people spend enough time playing.
It solves a problem, just not one that we think is a serious problem.
Oh, look, that's not a put down. The entertainment industry, okay, they have $1 trillion a year industry to go in. Now it's a mass market industry, and it's not a place, people that think they're going to do startups in it. And like I say, all kinds of people trying to do the next Snapchat and everything else. There's 500,000 apps in the App Store, and everybody loses money on it, right? You want to go in and create successful businesses, and you want to go up against Microsoft, who's in there spending $1 gazillion, and HTC and Oculus, Facebook, right? And you're going to go in there. It's kind of, and you want to go in and make great movies and create a viable business on it, up against the mass market studios. Well, I mean, every now and then somebody goes, but way more money's lost than is made in doing that. So that's the comment. That's the comment.
A counterpoint I'll throw to that right now. So entertainment is the big buy-in for this, and I usually type what brother after checking this out, drop $5,000 on a setup without thinking about it. Right now, in the Steam content, so Steam, if you're familiar with Valve, that's the online store that most of the games in the world are sold through, if they're PC-based, at least the ones that people make money on. The content for VR is doubling every couple days, and there are it's all pretty much independent folks. And if you have these skills, there is a window of opportunity similar to what happened in the first 2 or 3 years of the iPhone. There's a couple cases where there's guys with 1 or 2 person startups building really sophisticated simulations using this technology because it leverages all the standard 3D tools that are having really, really good business success. How it'll scale and amalgamate, that's a good question, but there's huge opportunity here.
There's other companies like Unity is basing like a lot of their company now on augmented reality and virtual reality.
All I'll say is if you use a room scale 3D simulator, it's unbelievable.
You really make me want one. Like,
I've been around for a while in the technology space, and the last time I was this wowed by a technology was the first time I connected the modem to a computer.
Oh wow!
That's how cool.
Is that hyperbolic? You legitimately.
Well, when I realized you could, I was probably about 6 or 7, but when I realized you could connect computers all over the world with this, but it's been a long time since I felt that way about technology.
Kim DeVoe from Brilliant Labs has an Oculus Rift, and she's let us play around with it a number of times. And also, I apologize. I was hoping to bring that in, but my gaming computer crapped out, so that's on me. But the first time I put the Oculus on, even with the dev kit, the screen door effect, and all that stuff, it's a ridiculous experience. There's nothing quite like, oh, this is the world now. That's fascinating.
So picture that level of wow, more than a game. It's the room scale effect where you can actually walk around in a 3D volume with perfect tracking. It's unbelievable.
Has anybody here done the Rob Calabrese's last escape room? Escape room, right? So I was hoping he'd be here tonight. I want to connect Rob and Brian because I'd like the next escape room to have some AR, and we had a really cool conversation about it.
So on that, does anyone else really want to hear what Matthew Churchill thinks about this? Because I certainly do.
Have my coat.
Come on, man. Like opportunities for like experiential learning inside of a VR AR world. You guys must be thinking about that. Please tell us.
It's the same balance regarding Steve. See the opportunities, but making money and the huge investment you have to make to get a chance at making money is kind of significant.
Well, there's actually a company here in the Maritimes that is doing some VR stuff to help with psychology. They're called WellTrack.
There are a lot of companies in the Maritimes doing VR stuff.
Yes.
There are a lot
But the one I'm familiar with is called WellTrack, and they're doing this for exactly standing up in front of crowds and learning through that way. I mean, there's a lot of really big applications.
I'll make it even more blunt. If you know Unity, if you know how to build 3D systems and you have a neat idea, you should be thinking about doing it and getting it out there. This is it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. This technology is legit. Entertainment is the big one, but the number of folks that are independent and making a lot of money through the Steam system. I mean, if you look at what Steam did, Matthew can talk a little bit about that maybe, for independent game studios in terms of being able to monetize, it's a completely game-changing setup. And this is something where people are willing to shell out the money. The revenue coming in on Steam in their VR library is amazing.
So come out on 23rd and learn some VR stuff.
Brian, what's the company's called?
Oh, WellTrack. Sorry.
Wealth?
I'll send it to you in a second. I can't remember the name.